Good morning, everyone. It's your one and only Daniel here, bringing you Contenders content. I'm gonna skip all the pleasantries and dive straight into the content because we have so many teams and so many games and so much content to cover. I don't think I will be doing ranking in this video. It's very one-sided this week. We're going into our first game. It's SRU versus Lost Generation. SRU did a couple of misplays. I feel like they did not scatter their farm. Lifestealer was always behind, and this Terrorblade in game one was way out of control. Also, beautiful fighting style coming from Lost Generation. Their Mars, their offlane player, was on point. Those arenas blocked and protect this Terrorblade as long as possible, and it also provided them a really good stun with the puck to control these fights in this arena, and the Terrorblade just went out of control. SRU did do a couple of good plays. The draft was a bit lackluster as well when it comes to stunts. They did have a Night Stalker, but they really didn't utilize the Night Stalker that much. The hunting in the jungle was not that well done, is what I personally felt when I watched over the games. But really good job from both teams. Both teams are new to AD2L. And they definitely are coming in strong. There are no way did either team perform bad. I think it's because it was week one. I feel like SRU still trying to find their groove, but oh my god, Puck and Dead Prophet have been getting picked so much in the week one. Like most of the mids and contenders played Puck. Next game, we have ROT versus Psgs. ROT, our stable team of AD2L. They had a rough time dealing with Psgs. Next, we have ROT versus Psgs. ROT, stable team, as we all know, and Psgs coming back into Season 31 after making it all the way and being the runner-ups in Season 30. They definitely came in strong, and they showed ROT what they're made of. Psgs game one, they went for Dragon Knight, and oh my god, did they amaze me with a couple of the clips or what I was watching from the Twitch. They went for an offlane OD with the Mirana combo, and they went double Meteor Hammer. The amount of tower pressure they were creating in game one was just phenomenal. They also experimented a offlane DP with the Naga safe lane, and it definitely went really well for them. Game 2, I think ROT could have won it. I think they did a couple of mistakes by being way too aggressive on the Spirit Breaker, and they really didn't have a tank. They did pick Sanking to be their offlaner, but I feel like Sanking is not really your frontline kind of hero. He's more like someone that has to go in. I mean, I guess they did have Alchemist, but he wasn't as strong as the Puck and the Naga Siren. The damage output was crazy. But they didn't give their best. It's only week one. I think it was very strange. I think there was only one series that went 1-1. All the other series went 2-0, and it was pretty one-sided. I think teams are finding their groove. There's a new patch coming in 2 weeks from when this, or yeah, 2 weeks, April 9th. So I feel like every team is either giving their all and showing all their cards so they can re-upgrade themselves for the patch coming. But really good job coming from Psgs. They definitely amazed us. And here is the clip from the WOD as well, where Psgs safe lane carry gets a rampage on Slark. A really good performance from him in both games as well. Okay, next up we have Sabres going up against Potter Raid. Old friendly rivalry coming up in the game. At least that's what I noticed from the chat and the pre-chatter coming from both teams. Game 2, I feel like Sabres, it was definitely a game that they could have won. But I feel like they had struggles getting into the high ground. Gabprint was doing exceptionally well on his Void Spirit, and I feel like they had the momentum, but for some reason at that 30-minute point, I feel like Sabres' momentum just dies. I don't know what happens. I think they either relax, like that 25 to 30-minute point, even at season 30. I feel like they relax a bit too much. I feel like they need to keep their um, leg on the pedal. Oh, they need to keep their leg on the gas. I feel like they're running out or something. I'm not sure if it's a shock collar problem or what's happening, but definitely in game 2 we could have seen. At least I saw that happen. They were doing exceptionally well in the early to mid game, and come that transition into late game, they just it felt like they just stopped, and their car broke down or something like that. Game 1 though, Pot of Wraith, they pulled out Leshrac and Beastmaster coming from Pot of Wraith. Sun did exceptionally well. He was so tanky at the end of the game too. I feel like Sabres went for a greedier draft, and Pot of Wraith made sure they take care of it. They went for instant CM pick into Death Prophet. I'm not sure how CM counters Death Prophet, but apparently with the insight from the caster, looks like they had a preparation going that if they pick Death Prophet, they would go CM with the Beastmaster combo pick up at 8th, because Beastmaster is heavily countered by CM. And they definitely executed their draft, and they came with a 2-0 win in this series. Game 1, I feel like Sabres draft was greedy. Enigma got, I feel like Enigma only got like 1 or 2 really good black holes, and it wasn't really enough for them to win. DK was providing the tank, but I feel like if they had someone more of a pace setter, because they had 2 very passive supports, like Venomancer and Enigma, they both like to farm or just like take a dead lane. And I feel like if they brought either off a really aggressive like a Shadow Shaman, I feel like they would have had a better time with this draft. Next game we have is Team Slavic Beggars versus Illegal. I was able to cast this game, or post cast this game. Thank you, Illegal, for coming and hanging out in the chat and watching your game being played. They did really well. I think the MVP is definitely going to be Sanking or Puck for me. Mostly Sanking, at least game 1. But if I take a look at both games together, it's definitely the Puck. Game 1, Puck was definitely feeling it. He went for the Witchblade Scotty build, and my god, is it brutal. Illegal at a point, it felt like that Puck build was definitely illegal for them. They were just styling on Team Slavic Beggars, and they just took the momentum and they kept going with that momentum. Beautiful Sanking alls, epicenters coming all over the place. I feel like even, I mean, Sven did, at the end of the game, it felt like Sven was more of their tank, and Puck and Sanking were the people who were doing the damage and just killing everyone that they see. I feel like Slavic Beggars, I didn't really find their groove. I feel like they really wanted to make this Death Prophet mid-work. I feel like they could have flexed it into the offlane, and Darkseer is definitely not the pick. Like, they already saw that they were looking for a... they picked the Sven, and they picked the Darkseer into Sven. The wall is really good against Sven, but it does give the Sven a free lane where he can farm up. And they already picked this Chaos Knight, who's not the best farmer when compared to Sven. So I feel like if they did not pick the CK and they picked someone else, let's say maybe like a Juggernaut or PA or Wraith King, then they could have picked the Darkseer, because then Sven is able to farm and Darkseer will counter him later, and the Juggernaut will be able to farm at the same rate as Sven and maybe come even online earlier, and they might be able to take more fights with the DP and Ancient Operation. But very good job done by Puck and Sanking from Illegal. Next we have my series, Grin Reavers versus Go 5. Game 1 was definitely a winnable game. I feel like we threw the game. I think we took fights when we didn't need to take the fights. And it also felt like our supports and everyone was very squishy. Kudos to AZ, he definitely did a really good job on the Invoker. Very proud of him going the Quaspex route as well. Next, going into game 2, we changed up the draft a bit and we went for that Clockwork, and I felt like it worked. Me and Licky were doing much of the tanking, and the fights felt really good. We also wanted to test a Razor from Go 5. We heard good things about Razor, that AZ plays a really good Razor, and we just want to test it out, and it felt good. He definitely bullied me out of lane, but it was a good game. I had fun. Game 1, it was not that much fun playing OD and not being able to kill anyone. I don't think I even got a or my Meteor Hammer combo on anyone. If I was comboing someone, should have even stopped me, or they were just so very closely packed and traveling in a group. Next series we have is Fotp versus Team Hog. Team Hog is a new AD2L team. If I'm not mistaken, they came after a break, but man, are they looking good. Fotp did try out some interesting drafts. Game 1, they went. I feel like game 1 they could definitely have won, but this gyrocopter was just way out of control. The juice power, whatever it was coming from Ogre Magi, was just propelling this gyrocopter's motors, and he was just destroying them. There was a point in the game where the gyrocopter was killing the Timbersaw with ease. And yeah, it was a good draft coming from Team Hog. They picked the OD mid, and it was instantly countered by the Void Spirit, making it hard for him to get Meteor Hammer combos. And it was a good game all around. Game 2, Fotp did try out a interesting draft. They went for a pause 5 Death Prophet, and they went for a Tide Core with a pause 4 Tusk. They went for a Tide mid and a pause 4 Tusk, I believe, and a offlane Legion Commander, if I'm not mistaken. Might have gotten the Tide and Legion mixed up. I feel like they did a Legion mid maybe. It was really good. I feel like some of the fights that Fotp took were interesting. Anti-Mage definitely tried to fight a bit early on as well, and I feel like it didn't really work out. They picked Anti-Mage into Wraith King. It used to be a good counter, but now that Shard is available at 20 minutes and Wraith King doesn't really fight before the 20 minutes, nor does Anti-Mage. So it's a very easy purchase for him to counteract the Anti-Mage. Before, it used to be if the Anti-Mage and the team is snowballing, Wraith King needs to get that level 20 before he could be viable, but very, very well played by Team Hog. The team fights that they took with this pockets. Next, we have Pot of Envy versus WS's Cobalt. Unfortunately, game 1 was not ticketed by Cobalt or Pot of Envy, whoever was responsible. I will go ahead and blame Dill, because Gambit told me we can always blame Dill. WS Cobalt, they actually could have lost game 1. Game 1 was definitely looking very, very grim for them. Alleviated was casting it. That's where I was able to get most of my footage from. Game 1, Pot of Envy was taking a lot of good fights, but coming to that high ground point is when they kind of messed it up. They took 2 unfortunate fights, and things were going bad very, very fast for them. And especially when there is Dill Juggernaut involved and Gambit's Windranger, you can't really afford to do those mistakes when going high ground. And their high ground was also very brutal, a lot of heals with the Lich as well as the Phoenix, providing nice tankiness for the Zax. And they just manned up and took the fights and went for a game 1 win. Game 2, WS Cobalt go for that Puck. They also go for the support Nature Prophet, which did amazing work. The Nature Prophet was just jumping around the whole map, creating chaos and wreaking havoc. And Dill was able to play his Juggernaut one more time. He loves the hero. A Lich Juggernaut combo, very good, very strong. All you gotta do is spin with the Lich armor, and anyone who's slow just dies. Pot of Envy did steal the axe eventually, but I feel like they should have picked someone who is much faster. I guess Axe's call does go through call to stop TPs, but it was a rough game for them, Pot of Envy, but hopefully they are getting it together and coming very strong into next week. Next, we have Petting Zoo Rejects versus iBot Artifact for Dota Plus or iBad. A lot of talks happened after this game ended. I believe about the Meepo picked by Insane Chaos, or at least that's what I noticed in the Discord. But very well played by iBad. They didn't let anyone cross the river on PZR. I looked at the replay, and I don't think anyone crossed the river until 20 minutes of the game, which gave the Meepo a lot of time to farm. People say Viper is a counter to Meepo, but it's really not. Viper pushes the lane into the tower. That's when Meepo comes and farms it, and then you go farm the jungle. It's just efficiency and power to farm faster and flash farm, which Insane Chaos definitely showed in that game. But I feel like the problem where things started spiraling for PZR, it was definitely a winnable game for them, even though the last cheese pick of Meepo came in the perfect scenario for Meepo. I feel like if they were aggressive on their heroes, I feel like they could have controlled the Meepo. And also the Doom targets were very questionable in game 1. Doom was, even though Winter Wyvern was in reach for the Doom to ult, he was ulting the Life Stealer, or he was ulting the Meepo sometimes. It's not really the best targets, because Meepo, even though you ult one Meepo, there's the rest of 3 who can always use their spells and destroy you in the fights, and it also heals, I believe, the other Meepo who got doomed. Yeah, looks like Jamie is going back to his pause 4. If he's comfortable with that position, definitely it's working for him, right? But PZR do steal that Winter Wyvern, but we're not really able to utilize it that well. Not least, we got Team Desnan going against Persephone, or aka Death. Very well played. There were some exceptionally good plays that happened in this game, and there was a moment where Mango was living at 100 health. I feel like Desnan were trying way too hard for some of the fights to work. They did go for that pause 5 Gyrocopter as well as mid Vengeful. I don't think that really worked in favor of them. The sniper got a really good lane, and I feel like they missed some arena damage. They did have the Gyrocopter pause 5 throwing in the cooldown, but I feel like Medusa was not able to farm a bit because the Sanking and the Rubik Lich were just controlling the jungle way too well, and controlling the triangle as well. I feel like if they change the Gyrocopter or even the Winch, I feel like you can't go double meme, I guess. I mean, Vengeful is really strong, but you need to farm. If the hero loses lane, it's a dead hero. The only reason the Vengeful has a 50% win rate in Contenders is because the pot of Wraith made it work. Just because Sabres threw the game at the end and they lost the game, unfortunately, because it went 15 minutes. But a really good job coming from Persephone. I feel like Persephone is probably in that A tier. I didn't start ranking, that's why I'm not ranking any teams. If you were to rank, I feel like Persephone is really high up, and it was just a really hard game for the Team Dissonant as well. Things weren't working. So even game 2, like the Pudge was so way too tanky, and I feel like the target prioritization was also not really hitting on point. They were coming back after a break, I think after a 6-year break, back to AD2L. So it's just a matter of time. They find their groove, and they adapt to the new patch coming on April 9th as well. Now, let us go into predictions for the week 2 of AD2L. Let's get a quick prediction of week 2 of AD2L Contenders Division. Blush Generation versus WS Cobalt. I feel like both teams are very well matched. This is probably going to be a 1-1. Next game we have iBad versus Persephone. I think Persephone is a bit of a better team, and I don't really think iBad's performance was that strong coming from the game from Petting Zoo Rejects. So I'm going to go 0-2 in favor of Persephone. Next, we have my series Grin Reavers versus Petting Zoo Rejects. It's my series, so I'm definitely going to go for a 2-0 series this game. Next, we have Vib Sabers versus Pot of Envy. I feel like if Vib Sabers do not find that Axel run at that 25 to 30 minute point, which helps them take them into the late game, they will be having a hard time winning games. And Pot of Envy is a good team, so this is definitely going to go 0-2 unless Sabers are able to fix that dry spell patch that they have at that 25 to 30 minutes. Next, we have SRU versus Fallen Rocks versus... SRU Fallen Rocks versus Team Salvik Bakers. I feel like Salvik Bakers are in a very rough patch. I don't think they really have a shot caller for that one reason alone. I'm going to go 2-0 in favor of SRU Fallen Rocks. Next, we have Psgs versus Psgs versus Illegal. Beautiful performance. Psgs beautiful performance in week 1. I feel like both of them are evenly matched. It's going to be 1-1 and definitely an exciting game to cast, which I will post-cast if no one's casting this game. Next, we have Potterwraith versus Team Hog. Potterwraith definitely brought their skill, definitely brought their team communication in week 1. Looking really high hopes for this team. It's going to go 2-0. Team Hog, new team. I feel like they were a diamond in the rough. They just need some polish, and they will be a really strong team soon. Diamond Hands together strong. They did not play week 1, so it's kind of hard to judge them yet. But the Go5 demonstrating a beautiful team workmanship as well as a farming patterns. So I'm going to go 0-2 in favor of Go5. Next, we have Team Desnant versus Fotp International Garbage. Team Desnant, even though they're in the rough, Fotp are way in the rough. I feel like Fotp needs to figure out, come back to the basics of draft. I feel like they're trying very interesting new things. I feel like they need to determine what each player and their team is going to be contributing to the team. Are they a tank? Are they a team fight? Are they shot caller? Or are they going to be the one or is going to be the playmaker? I feel like they're still missing that for that one reason. I'm going to go 1-1, but heavily in favor of Team Desnant. I feel like Team Desnant, if they are able to give that extra oomph, they will be able to get they will be able to 2-0 Fotp International Garbage. That's all for AD2L Contenders content, and I caught my breath. I'm Daddy Odin, and I'm out.